Alright, now I did a video the other night where I discussed teams that are well below the cap. And I discussed the Canucks, a team that are around cap, around the cap for this year. And there's already word now, I heard today on sports, that they are looking at hoping for a $2 million rise in the cap to $75 million, which is a rise in amount, but it really doesn't give a lot more flexibility here. So let's look at Detroit. Detroit right now is above the cap, um, if not for the long-term injured reserve. LTIR has really helped them. But when you look at it, Zetterberg is still signed for $6.08 million for 5 more seasons, including this one. Franz Nielsen signed a 6-year contract, $5.25 million. Gustav Nyquist has 3 more years at $4.75 million. Justin Abdelkader, who's on the IR, has $4.25 million for the foreseeable future. Thomas Tatar is an RFA at the end of this year, $2.75 million. Thomas Vanek, $2.6 million UFA at the end of the year, likely just goes. Riley Sheehan, 2 years at $2.075 million. All right, resuming where I left off, Riley Sheehan's got 2 years left at $2.075. Drew Miller's got 1 year left at $1 million. And then from here, you get Dylan Larkin's got 2 years left in his contract, which is still entry level this year. Next, Thomas Yurko has 900 grand left, and then he's an RFA. He's not getting a raise. Anthony Mantha is 863 grand this year. And next, he has to be protected. He's potentially going to Vegas. Steve Ott, 800 grand UFA. I can't see him staying. I think this will be his last year in the NHL. Tyler Bertuzzi, 2 years left in his contract. Thanasiu is RFA at the end of this year. He'll get a raise over 628 grand, but I don't think he'll get a big one. He's got a lot of potential, but he hasn't really realized it yet. Glenn Denning has 4 years added on now at 1.8 million next year. He's 628 grand this year. That does hurt a little bit considering Glenn Denning doesn't produce. On the blue line, Mike Green has 6 million this year. Next, Danny DeKeyser, 5 million a year for 6 years. Nicholas Kronwall, 3 years, 4.75 million. Ericsson's got 4.25 million for 4 years. Brendan Smith, 2.75 million. He's a UFA at the end of this year. He'll probably get a raise, but not much. Marchenko, 1.45 million this year. Next, Ouellette, 715 grand. He's an RFA. Lashov's a UFA or an RFA at the end of this year. Sproul, 625 grand RFA in 2 years. Jimmy Howard's 5.291 million. Honestly, he gets 5.2 million. Mrazek gets 4 million. They're paying 9.2 million for 2 goaltenders, and neither of them really have played very well. Their long-term IR relief, Franzen, his 3.9 million, he's never playing again. Darren Helm, 3.8 million, he's out for quite a while, and Vitali is not playing again. And he's a UFA at the end of the season. So where are they next year? Next year they're projected to have 17 players and 4 million in cap space. 4 million in cap space. Now, I don't think this calculator includes the long-term IR. So I'm hoping it's better than that. But would I be surprised? Not really. No. Detroit has cap problems this year. They're going to have cap problems next year. And so if you're a Red Wings fan, it's not great news for you. The Ducks are next up on the top of the list, top of the heap. Their cap space right now is a big fat zero. They've got a lot of long-term IR too. A lot of these teams do. So looking at Anaheim, Corey Perry gets $8.6 million for the next 5 years. Ryan Getzlaf gets $8.2 million for the next 5 years. 2 goals for that $8.25 million. Just throwing that out there. 2 goals. Ryan Kessler gets $6.875 million, 6 years. Kessler's been their best forward. And I'm not a Kessler fan. Anybody who's watched this channel knows I'm not a Kessler fan. He's easily been their best forward. Their most dangerous. They're most versatile, and I kind of get like puke in the back of my throat saying it, but he has been very good for them. Rickard Rakell, with his $3.853 million this year, and then $3.789 million for 5 years after that. Rakell's been worth it so far. Silverberg gets $3.75 million for the 3 years. Sometimes he's worth it, sometimes he isn't. Cogliano, $3 million this year and next. At least you know he's playing every game. Vermette's $1.75 million this year and next. He hasn't lived up to it so far. Jared Bowl, 900 grand this year and next. He's an enforcer. Nick Ritchie's on his entry level for the next 2 years. Cramarosa's RFA at the end of this year. That's not a big deal. Cachet, who just came up, he's going to be RFA in 2 years. Doesn't matter. Logan Shaw, Nosen, those aren't a big deal either. They're both going to be RFA at the end of this year. Hampus Lindholm, of course, it was a big deal that he signed, which helped to turn things around for Anaheim. Definitely having Lindholm and Rakell back in the lineup after lengthy holdouts has helped them. His $5.2 million for the next 5 years, starting in 17. He's worth that. Vatanen, $4.875 million 4 times over. Cam Fowler, $4 million this year next. Kevin Bieksa, $4 million this year next. Bieksa's not worth $4 million anymore. He's not. And I love Bieksa a lot. He's one of my favorite defensemen of all time, and he's not worth $4 million at this stage in his career. Stoner, $3.25 million this year next. I'm not sure that Stoner's ever been a $3.25 million a year defenseman in my eyes, anyways. Shea Theodore, entry level this year next. Josh Manson, 825 grand this year next, and he's RFA. Holzer, 700 grand UFA at the end of this year. No big deal there. Jonathan Bernier's UFA next summer with his 4.1 million. I could see him ending up in Vegas if he continues to put up decent totals in Anaheim. John Gibson's 2.3 million for the next 3 years. That looks like a steal, to be honest. And then Dupre's on long-term IR right now with 3.7 million, and Nate Thompson 1.6 million. So when you look at next year, they're projected to have, for their 18 roster size, 31 contracts altogether, projected cap space 4.5 million. So they, with 5 less players, they have $4.5 million. So it's not looking good for Anaheim either. And this is where it's funny, because these are organizations that have done pretty well over the last 10 years. And this is the price you pay for doing well over the last however long. And then what's weird too is Arizona's up near the top because of all of the money they've taken on from teams that's fake money. They're way up there. So I'm not going to get into them right now. I'm just going to get into Pittsburgh for now, because I haven't looked at Pittsburgh yet. Let's take a look at how Pittsburgh's going to be next year. Well, they got Malkin at $9.5 million until 21-22. They've got Crosby at $8.7 million forever. Phil Kessel, $6.8 million until 21-22. And when you think about that, that's between those 3 players, that's $24 million locked up in 3 guys. So when people, again, I'm going to go back to a Canuck mention here. People complain about the Sedins at $14 million for the 2 of them. Well, you're, $24 million for 3 guys in Pittsburgh. Anyways, it's all relative, is all I'm saying. Hornqvist, $4.25 million this year next in his UFA. Carl Hagelin's got 3 years left at $4 million. Kunitz is a UFA this coming summer for $3.85 million. He will not get that money next contract if he sticks around at all. Eric Fair, $2 million this year next. Nick Bonino, $1.9 million UFA next summer. Likely gets a raise. Not a big one, though. Matt Cullen's probably in his final year, $1 million this year. Connor Sheary is an RFA. He's going to get a raise. He's going to get his money. I don't know how much. Brian Rust is RFA after the next 2 years, so he's $640,000 this year and next year. That's a steal. Kuhnhackl, $625,000 this year and next year. That kid is all heart. Tom Kuhnhackl is all heart in any game I've watched Pittsburgh play. Scott Wilson, $625,000 this year and next year. Definitely worth the money for what he's provided. Chris Letang makes $7.25 million, and he's signed for the next 6 years. Oli Mata, $4.08 million for the next 6 years. And I like Mata, but that's a lot of money for what he's provided so far in that contract. Daly, $3.3 million. He's UFA at the end of this year. I can't see Pittsburgh keeping him around. I just can't see it. Ian Cole, $2.1 million this year. Next, Justin Schultz is $1.4 million, and he's RFA at the end of the year. He's probably going to stay in that range. Brian Dumoulin, $800,000 RFA at the end of this year. He'll get a minor raise. And Alexei, $575,000 and UFA at the end of this year. He likely just stays at that level or just gets to leave. Marc-Andre Fleury, of course, this is where the famous what's going to happen takes place. $5.75 million for the next 3 years, and he's UFA. And then Matt Murray, of course, his $3.75 million extension takes effect next year and runs for 3 years before he's RFA. Pascal Dupuis, his $3.75 million long-term IR. He's never playing again. He'll be UFA next summer. He will never play again, so that'll just be it for him. And yeah, so next year they have 14 guys on the roster, but they do have $11.5 million in cap space. So Sheary's going to eat some of that up. Some of their other guys are going to eat some of that up, but they should have enough. This is the first team I've looked at tonight where Detroit and Anaheim are in some serious trouble. I honestly think Pittsburgh's got enough room and enough cap space here to really improve their team next year, which when you think about it, when you really, really think about it, that's scary business because Pittsburgh has been the best in the East for the most part. And now you're in a position where next year they could get better. So they won the Cup last year. They're over the cap this year. They've got long-term IR helping them out. And next year they could get better. So that's my look at those three teams. I'm going to try to keep it to 3 or 4 at any given time. Let me know what you think in the comments about which of these three teams is more hosed long-term. Which one you would like to GM and say, oh, well, I could fix this. Who do you trade out? Who's overpriced? And oddly enough, Ryan Kessler is not somebody I would say is overpriced right now. So again, kind of makes me a little bit sick inside, but I have to be honest here. Part of my whole being with this channel is being honest, frank, and objective. And Kessler has played better than his contract so far. He's been putting up a lot of points, and he's been scoring goals. And Getzlaf does not score goals at all for the amount of money they're paying him. And I know he gets assists, and I know there's other things he does, but I don't know. He's clumsy, and he just can't score. He's got hands of stone, and that's a lot of money to pay for a guy like that. When you see Pittsburgh picking up guys like Rust and Sheary, automatically mean that Pittsburgh has a much better chance of creating a very, very competitive roster as opposed to what Anaheim has, which tells me Anaheim isn't getting the prospects that Pittsburgh's getting. They're not finding those diamonds in the rough. Detroit, much the same. Everybody's praised Detroit for years and years and years. Oh, they're fantastic drafting. Where is it right now? Yes, Tyler Bertuzzi's come up, and Mantha's kind of on the verge. But Yurko's been a bust. Tatar is flattened out. Nyquist is flattened out somewhat. They need somebody who's going to score. Right now, the number one scorer is still Henrik Zetterberg, and Zetterberg isn't scoring the way he used to. So Detroit is in major trouble. In my eyes, Detroit long term has a problem because they got a lot of cap under a lot of guys that they should probably want off the books. And Pittsburgh to me looks set. It's sickening. Although I did cheer when they won the Cup, so sickening's all relative too. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. If you're just browsing through, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And I will talk to you all again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.